Incentives are basically a means to encourage someone to do something or not to do something. They can range from positive incentives such as money or prestige for doing something desirable to negative incentives such as jail for doing something undesirable or for not doing something like paying taxes. The strongest incentives are legal mandates. Solar hot water systems have been required to be installed on new home construction in Israel since the 1980s, although these systems had already been in widespread use there for decades. More recently, such mandates have been enacted in Spain, Portugal, and Hawaii. Of course, these mandates are not equivalent to a mandate to use solar hot water. For photovoltaics, in Oregon, a project to construct or do major renovations on a public building must include 1.5% of the cost for solar technologies, which may include solar hot water and PV. On March 26, 2013, the city of Lancaster, California reportedly became the first city in the United States to adopt a law mandating solar energy on newly constructed homes, effective January 1, 2014. The law requires 1 to 1.5 kilowatts of PV for every 7,000 square feet of an urban lot, or for every 100,000 square feet of a rural lot. Builders are allowed to place a larger system on one house and then avoid a system on a different house they are building, and they can even purchase solar credits from another builder in the city. It will be interesting to see if other cities begin to adopt such requirements. To our knowledge, there are no mandates to add PV to existing buildings. In many states, electric utilities are required to use a certain percentage of solar generation in their mixture of sources for electricity generation, or to purchase the equivalent amount of SRECs. However, the mandates that exist lead to incentives for homeowners. If you already have a solar hot water system on your roof, the lower cost of using it rather than heating your water some other way is an incentive. If you can sell the SRECs from your PV system, that future income is an incentive to install a system on your roof, and a major reason you can sell them is that utilities have to buy them. Incentives for PV systems in the U.S. are generally one of three types. One is tax reductions, of which the most important one is from the federal government. The second one is grants, which are direct payments to a PV system owner, to the installer, or to both. Typically, grants are based on the size of a PV system, up to some maximum size or payment. A grant may be from the government, from a utility, or from some other non-governmental organization. The third incentive we will talk about is mandated SREC purchases by utilities. Tax reductions and grants are usually based on the initial size or cost of a PV system, and only rarely depend on the annual electricity generated over a period of time. The money usually goes to the system owner or installer before or within a year or two after the system is installed. By contrast, SRECs are generated as the system generates electricity, and are determined by the amount of electricity generated. The money from SREC sales goes to the system owner gradually as the PV system operates.